Welcome, everybody, to the World of Ability Podcast Network. My name is Emily Gomer, and I'm a podcast engineer here. And I'm excited to bring you another episode of Conversation for All. I run Christian Mendez, AC Marketing for All. I've been doing for a little while here, kind of all about making connections, and working and so on. And we do this every Friday at 2:30 p.m. Central, 12:30 p.m. Pacific, and would love to have everybody join us. And so please connect with us if you are interested, and to please check out of our social media, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and so on. Like, share, comment, subscribe. And so with nothing further to do, I'm going to bring in Christian to kick us off today. So welcome, Christian. Christian's there. But anyway, we are going to, I think we're going to have a couple of great guests today. And so,
I'm back. Sorry about that. I was muted. Here I am, excited. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good day, wherever it may be, whenever you are hearing this. And as we hear those chings and chimes, I love it because that means we have more folks and more guests that are joining us. Yes, this is Christian Mendez, EC Marketing. We are actually here for the conversation for all, the insights to some of the latest things that are happening, some of the strategies, some of our nonprofits that we work with. Today's Disability Channel, the World of Ability Podcast Network, Project Diehard, Let's Be Trees, and now also a couple of folks that are doing some global impact from Canada. We have Christine Bernat that has joined us, as well as, I believe, people for, there he is, Richie, People for a New America. Yeah, Fan of USA uh, as well. So very excited. Come on in and let's introduce yourself, Christine. We're going to go ahead and since here, introduce yourself. And
Christian,
yes,
if we could maybe have Richie go first, because Richie doesn't have
time
much time.
crunch.
Yeah.
Okay, that's okay.
Well, hello.
Hi, Richie.
How you doing? My name's Richie Onori. I'm kind of a well-known guy that plays in a multi-platinum group. I'm also a business entrepreneur. Done many businesses as well. As a musician, I've pretty much worked with the Who's Who, and then I play in the multi-platinum group, The Sweet, Ballroom Blitz, Fox on the Run, Little Willie, Love is Like Oxygen. I've been doing that gig for I manage the band as well. So having good business skills and being a musician, that's always a tough one. Like Gene Simmons is a perfect example, is somebody that had business skills and also was the entertainer, performer. So there's certain guys that can do it. I've certainly been groomed that way. And what I've just done, and with the support of this group that you have, of course, with Kurt, and I met you also, sir, I just staged a massive event here in Los Angeles, which is the launch of it's called Birth of a Movement. My nonprofit is called People for a New America. And it has many components to it. It's a nonprofit 501c3. 501c3s are one of the best business models out there. A lot of people don't really realize that you can have a nonprofit for profit as well. And I've been schooled by somebody that was very involved in that aspect. And it is an incredible, really one of the best compared to LLCs and regular corps, nonprofits. But anyways, People for a New America just staged an event with the who's who in the recording business. And it was the launch, like I said, birth of a movement. And we had obviously the red carpet. We had guys from Pink Floyd with Scott Page, who was in Pink Floyd, and along with the drummer from Jane's Addictions. Just had a lot of coverage lately from Jane's Addiction. That's Steve Perkins on drums, Norwood Fisher from Fishbone. His band played. My group, The Sweet, played. We had Tierra that had massive hits in the 70s. We also had Mickey Free, Grammy Award winning. So the point of it is bringing all the races and religions together. And and
what are we bringing the masses together for?
What's that?
What are we bringing the masses together for, Richie?
The key point is that we are divided. Our country's divided, so everybody's looking for an answer. Well, it worked in the 60s during Woodstock days, brought a lot of people together, music. This time it's without the drugs, and it's more of a spiritual calling too. So basically, when you bring all 80% of people out there, in our mode is that 80% of people want to build our society up. So instead of segregating and pitting ourselves against each other, realizing that 80% of people out there care about each other, just like musicians. We're colorblind, man. We're all brothers and sisters. Okay, that's just the artist mentality. So 80% are more apt to building our society up. 20% want to destroy it. They could be more materialistic beyond belief, and they love their power. And what happens with that is corruption and greed and dog eat dog world, which we don't need in the world. So by separating the 20%, let them play their games, because the buck stops with me. And I know these people and what they're up to. And basically, I know that the 80% want to help people. They care about our kids. They care about our futures. And so what I've been climbing the mountain for a long time, I had a vision in 1989, and I stuck to my vision. And now I have an incredible team around me that was able to stage this massive concert with all these people that came on. So we had the Chambers Brothers. Remember Time? The Time Has Come Today. Willie Chambers is in his late 80s, man. Did he nail it? The Main Ingredient. Everyone plays the fool and just want to be lonely. Then we had the more rock bands. We had a comedy, and then we had some very young people that got up in between. And so we were able to stage this at a big venue in Woodland Hills. It was a free concert on the 26th of October. And so now it's time to bring this message across the United States. We're talking TV deals. We were able to capture everything with a 7-camera shoot. And it was cinematic, to say the least. It was really well done. And so we have interviews. We have from 10 o'clock to 11:30 was the prayer vigil of all the races and religions coming together. So you had all the various people coming in and spreading those positive things. So that's what I do, and that's about it.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, I appreciate you coming in. I appreciate the energy and everything that you're putting behind it. I think that the best thing that we can do is to do something. We could talk all day, we can write down, but it takes action. And as we see, and as I've come into a lot of these nonprofit spaces, is that we want to make sure that things are structured so that we have the 80%, right? The rest of that 80% to contribute, and so that they see legitimacy, so that they see and have trust and be comfortable, because they want to rally behind them. But there's so many scams nowadays. There's so many things that are going on nowadays. So everybody's leery of everything, right? Even a positive message. So again, thank you so much for coming on in. And you talked about a little bit about the future. You talked about children and making a change out in the world right now. And that's exactly what this is about. So we bring you inspiring stories, expert advice, and valuable insights. We ask you guys to go ahead and subscribe. We ask you guys to go on to one of our Facebook pages, not ours, to our associates, to Fairness, to Christine Bernat, to Helpopedia, to Project Diehard. Thank a veteran, thank a mental health advocate, raise the awareness. Now remember, 22, did you know that an average of 22 veterans take their lives every day? Let's change that. Easy Marketing for All is committed to supporting organizations dedicated to veteran mental health, the inclusivity of all ability challenged folks that are out there. And we want to work together to raise awareness and provide more resources, and especially folks that have been on those front lines like Christine. And we're going to bring her in because you spoke about that future. You spoke about making change. And you know what I found out is we could do it and just breathe. And it's her method with the snap, tap, zap. And I'm telling you, it's been a life changing, and it's already changing the masses, Richie. So let me stop talking and absolutely let yourself introduce yourself, Christine.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Christian. It's an honor to be here on Conversations for All. And yes, my mission is to help children, parents, educators, anyone who is willing to really bring about change in their life, create the change that they wish to see in their family, that they wish to see in the world. And I'm very excited to have created a technique that is super simple to use, and that even a 2-year-old can use it. A 1-year-old can use it as well. And surprisingly, when little kids are introduced to this, because people are like, oh, this is too complicated for a little guy or a little girl. And I'm like, no, it isn't. Just do it with them. Help them with it. It will release. And what I have found since I founded this in 2021 is that kids will release at such a fast rate. You know, it takes 9 seconds to do the snap, tap, zap. Kids usually 1 to 3 rounds and they've released some of their stress. So adults, of course, like me, might take longer and need one-on-one support because we have buried trauma from our youth, which is okay. However, would you like me to take a couple of minutes and show your audience how to do the snap, tap, zap? And okay, so I'd like to invite everybody who's here with us and who's watching or listening at another time to just sit back. You can even do this laying down. Okay, it works laying down. I use it before I go to bed if my mind is too crazy and can't fall asleep. So it is possible. I have clients who have been able to get off their sleep medication using the snap, tap, zap before they go to bed. So step number 1 is you snap your fingers. If you can't snap, you can clap. I have kids who'll go 1, 2, 3, go, and then snap. And as they tap, they're breathing into the lower belly if you can. Then you relax the shoulders as you hold the breath and you zap. Exhale that out. So think of something that's bugging you a little bit. We won't take something that's a 10 out of 10, but something that's 1 or 2 out of 10 on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being extreme and 0, it's not bugging you at all, or it's not stressing you at all. Let's do it again. Snap, breathe in as you scan your body, tapping gently on the sternum here where the thymus gland is to boost your immune system. Relax the shoulders and exhale. And then breathing in again for 3. Hold it for 2 as you relax the shoulders, the spine, and exhale for 4. And because some of us are surrounded with extra highly sensitive kids, adults around us, That energy, believe it or not, lingers in the air. And it was a kid who taught me this. And then I started noticing it everywhere. So, but he said to me, Christine, I can't let it go. It's a rotten carrot. I'm like, what do you mean a rotten carrot? So he explained to me that all those emotions, well, I could sense it as well. The emotions that he had picked up, he'd buried them deep inside of him. And he was afraid that if he exhaled them out, he would be giving them back to his mom. And he had a single mom. And that's the last thing he wanted. So I'm going to add a step as we breathe in, relax. Imagine that you're at a train station. So imagination is very important. And you will blow the stress, the anxiety, the overwhelm, whatever's going on right now, onto the train. And the train will bring that stress, that anxiety, that overwhelm into the magma to burn it. That way, you're not carrying it, and the air around you will be much lighter for those in your environment that are highly sensitive. And that's about 15% of the population. So 1.5 kids out of 10 or adults are doing that. How are you feeling now, Christian? I should have had everybody write in the chat how they were before and after. I'm feeling much calmer too.
Absolutely. You know, I get excited. As anybody that knows me, I'm extra. And so being able to find a solution to ground, to be able to be mindful, and I love how you said it, is that a little kid, we can learn from everyone. And that's the one thing that we have to remember.
Yes.
And so my little guy yesterday, I was sharing because I've obviously been working with you and I like to get into the mission and vision and everything that you do. I've taken this on myself and I've made such progress and such change. And I definitely want to make sure that we share it to the world. We're going to be bringing up a couple of veterans groups. We're going to bring up some dad groups. We're going to be bringing up some parent groups. And we're going to be really just sharing. I'm no teacher. I am no professional. I will guide you guys to Christine. I will guide you guys to other folks that are certified, that are licensed, and so on, and trained and skilled and everything. All I can tell you, and I can share, and again, thank you for joining us. That's a great contribution because as Kurt, and he'll come on in, and Alan will introduce themselves, but they brought Richie along, and thanks again, Richie, for showing up. But this is truly what everyone is dealing with. This is something that no matter where you are in the world, there is something that is incoming, or there's something that's kind of stressing, or there's something that you're dealing with. And then if you're a parent and or have any interaction with children, then not only are we on walking on pins and needles, but it's also another layer of like what they see, and kids and other people see how we act and react. Yes. So we gotta be mindful about everyone, and if it takes breathing and making ourselves snap. My little one I was sharing, he can't snap his fingers, so he was telling me he can't do it, Dad. I can't do it, Dad. So then I said, we're going to clap, and then we're going to tap. And then he did it today by himself, and he did the clap, and he started doing the tap. And he actually gave me this one with a little fist, and he did. And then he was breathing, and you're absolutely right. It is very simple, but we as adults choose to complicate the simple things, and that's what brings that stress and that other things. And these are steps. These are steps in regards to what we're doing. But Mr. Kurt, come on in. Alan, come on in. Unmute yourself. Introduce yourself, and let me know what you got going on in this world, in the world, for the next 30 seconds. Go, Kurt.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Great to be on the show. Thanks, Christian, for doing it, and Alan joining in, Christine being here, and Richie. I'm a disability ally and I do a lot of community work, community organizing. That's why I got attracted to Helpopedia, where we met Christine. And, it's something where in the past I served as vice chair of the Wisconsin Council on Physical Disabilities. And, I started to learn a decade ago how all of this kind of fits together. So when you're in disability services, and you look at the mental health professionals, they all collaborate because of, identifying in multiple communities, being the same person. So that intersectionality is something that I hear being talked about. And I look at create the change you wish to see in your family. And hearing Richie talks, it's kind of like he's talking about our national and global family. How can we do that? So yeah, whether at home and out in the community, it's great to be doing it together. Thanks for letting me in the conversation for all. Back to you guys.
Hello.
I think a lot of the great things that you guys are doing and contributing, and that's where I kind of wanted to dig into a little bit more, Richie. This program and uniting globally, I love the idea. It takes me back to that Michael Jackson song. It takes me back, like you were saying, in the '60s. But we talk about, and we're going to get a little deep here, and I'm going to bring my brother from another mother, and congratulations to those LA Dodgers. But this brings me back to the '80s and the '90s in Los Angeles when cultures were starting to intermingle a lot more. And then we had already faced what we faced in, you said, the '60s, but then it went to the '70s, and that was kind of, chaotic. In the '80s and the '90s, a lot of the minority groups in Los Angeles and the riots and everything else, that actually caused a big separation, and that actually caused a big divide. Speaking of, again, Los Angeles and Mr. Allen Holmes, come on in, my brother from another mother. Introduce yourself. Tell me what you got going on today in the rest of your world.
Well, happy Friday. Happy the 1st of November to the world. Community is the essence of business, and I'm the master connector for it. Richie didn't make it down to Woodland Hills and know where that is, brother. I love music. They say it sows a civic beast, so I'm going to be there 110, support you. So welcome to the family conversation for all. Christine, oh my goodness, you're an angel from above. Mental health is, those who know me, I'm very transparent, very open. Grew up in Compton, not a tagline. Yes, straight out of Compton. In the '60s, but I am 55, almost became an actor, didn't work out, and I find myself here in the conversation for all. My amazing wife has mental illness, so eradicating poverty, ending mental health stigma, is what I love doing. And unlike Christian, I am not an expert. I'm just a master connector. I just like running my mouth. Just having fun and enjoying, because somewhere along the line, Mr. Kurt Roscoff told me about this thing called Master Connector MC Homes that I do on Wednesdays, but that's that's a story for another day. Yes, I'm happy Dodgers did it, but with this, we're here about the children, the future, so Christian, you put together a dynamic all-star team. Every time I come here, I never know what I'm going to see. So thank you for allowing me to be a part of the world. And it is so humble. And I'll just end by saying, I don't believe in coincidences. We don't have any children, but I'm big onto the world. So, I'll be looking on you. And I met a lady in Canada earlier. Her name was Carlene. Just barely met with her, but she has a whole nonprofit society about having the resources for the veterans like myself. Yes, I did serve from '87 to '90 as a 13 Bravo, and I'm watching veterans and disabled. So from the world of ability, the people here, thank you so much for being our people for New America. And Christine, it is having your mission. Thank you for allowing, change the world, young lady. Go ahead, and we're here for you. So, Christian, before you know me, I can just keep talking. So I got to give the mic back to
no. Let me go ahead. Yeah. No. Thank you. And my sister from another, Mr. Emily, come on in, introduce yourself, and let us know what you got going on. You're the one that makes this happen.
Just want to thank everybody for joining us, but I am a virtual assistant, podcast assistant, scheduler here in Wisconsin, but we do have a few events coming up here in the next month. We're gonna be meeting with Barry Shore in a couple of weeks about his Einstein Cares program, as well as having another Easy Expo event with a speaker series in December, beginning of December. Then in December, over Christmas, we're gonna have a holiday event with a couple, our own Santa Papa John and Santa from the UK. And so if anybody wants to join us in any of those things, please let us know.
Thank you. Going back to Richie, and again, Richie, I appreciate you. I also sent you an invite on LinkedIn. Again, going back to Fana and some of the stuff that you got going on, I think that music is truly universal. I think that even though there's different languages and things like that, I find that, and they say music tames the wild beast. I think that can, be either or, because I got me some workout music that definitely is not taming me. But going back to you, I really have loved music. And when they said that you were going to be on and a world-class drummer, again, definitely appreciate you. But it's really the person behind all of that and where we're wanting to change. And I really think that, I know it's, people for a new America, but I think it's just a global community to uplift one another. And it doesn't have to be America, Canada, Mexico. I love the whole camaraderie, the whole idea and the message behind it, Richie. And in fact, that's why, and when they told me, I was very surprised that you were able to come on here. But I really want to know what it is that we can contribute, how we can get in. One of the biggest things I always tell folks is, don't go to EC Marketing, don't subscribe, don't anything. Go to any of our partners. Go to helpopedia.org. Go to our letsbetrees.org. Go to our Today's Disability channel. Go to fanausa.org. Let's go to projectdiehard.org. Go on their pages, share, like, thank a veteran, help an individual that's got a disability or an ability challenged individual. And that's, if we can just continue to do that. Yesterday, I was speaking to two volunteers in front of a store. And as I'm speaking to them, this lady comes up behind me. She goes, I was wondering if I heard you talking about your background and everything else. Would you pray for my nephew? I haven't seen him in this many months. And I'm just going, absolutely. Hey, thank you. And I asked her for her name. She gave me her nephew's name. And it was nothing out of, it was out of left field. But again, it's just how we act, how we react, and how we are leading in the world, Richie. So what action can we take to get behind you, behind supporting what you got going on?
Well, a key thing here, and where mankind has missed a boat for a very long time, is mankind has always been in a position where we're dispersed. It's hard to get a whole group. Where things changed in the world was ADA getting passed, American with Disability Act. Okay. God has put me in a position where I was in 3 years with one of the women that was very instrumental in getting that passed in 1992. Okay. So being a musician and then working and then having my own nonprofit and having a spiritual download in 1989, all of us have journeys. And our biggest enemy has been being dispersed. So when I mentioned about the 20% that just care about material and greed instead of helping, they keep us divided. And that's what's created hell on earth. And that's why that's why there's wars. That's why there's all these things that happen. Okay. So basically with ADA, we're talking about over 100 nonprofits coming together in a united force. And what that did is that's really helped it with the movement, not with activism, some activism, but with advocacy. Okay. It was advocacy and legislative advocacy. Now, if you look at the FANA site, we have all the components to build a new paradigm shift. Okay. So when you say join a committee, which we're still in that phase. I've had a lot of people come in to these committees before, but now with this event, now it's time for the rubber to meet the road. Okay. Now it's time. So if you look at the committees, we have one of our committees is John Spagnola. John Spagnola was sitting there as a lobbyist, and he just got a huge bill passed to take all these drugs that you talk about suicides with veterans. He was the one that got them to take all those drugs off the schedule, and they could take what they wanted to, because a lot create hallucin. You know what I'm saying? So that's really what's got to happen here, is that we understand that the drug companies don't always have our back. The psychiatric community doesn't always have the answers. Okay. They think they do. They hope they do. They try to counsel, and it's all good. Counseling's good, but there's a bigger picture out here. It's not a money-making big pharma situation. It's time to get these servicemen off the drugs, get them off slowly, and let them confront their problems. That's one thing with the veterans, okay? And then we're talking about new media. Everybody talks about mainstream media. You hear them keep on repeating the same thing, like they're just ducks in a row. It's like they all get the memo, what they have to say. Well, that's what makes this little window of time with the internet so important, that we still have this little slice of time where we can create our own media. So just like so many great nonprofits out there are doing this, there's a lot of people on the same page. People are starting to awaken. So you've got new media, you've got, and Fanny, you got new alternative medicine, all these things. I mean, that helped the disability. I mean, the compression chambers that helped, that changed out. They had the iron lung before, and I forget what they were. It's amazing what the new technology is doing. So FAN is there to bring all the forces together. We want to empower all the nonprofits of like-minded ideologies, and so with the message of music and the events, then you have our committees, and then now we're at the beginning of our online school we're putting together, which is Fanny University, and it's to teach the kids and get them interested. I mean, for instance, how many kids are glued who they don't care about farming, but there's drone farming now, where the drones go over and plant the seeds. See, it's this technology of agriculture, new media, all these things that, if you look at it, advocacy and legislative, where we're working with the state legislators, that they're common people that are in our communities, that are just those are the people we need to talk to. That's how we create change. That's how we get legislation through the state. So a lot of people don't know that. They're going to protest their activism. They don't understand about advocacy, how important that is. So when you couple this all together and we all join together, we can really make real change with we are the people. Forget we the people, that's in our Constitution, but we are the people. We are the people to make this change. We are the ones. It's power to the people.
That's exactly it. And I want to bring in Christine in regards to the education, and this is something that we've talked about. We have to make sure that the parental unit is on the same page to want to get fixed, right, Christine? We need the parents to say, hey, I want to change, and therefore I want to change how I speak to my child, how I interact with my child, how I react with my child. One of the biggest things, and I'll let Christina chime on in here, but I've said this, and again, I can say this till I'm blue in the face to every single professional that wants to change the world, which that starts with children. It does not start with children. It does start in your home with us as adults. And if we say we're going to change, and then we turn around and do the exact same thing, then we're not actually committed to change. Christine, what are your thoughts, and what would you like to see a change in maybe education?
Well, I will start by saying, for those who don't know me, that I taught for 30 years before I retired and started this business. And there was such a need. I actually crashed completely and had to pick the pieces up to be able to function again. And what I realized is stress and little T trauma or big T trauma. Going in the army is the big T trauma, but things can happen to you as kids with the stepwife, with the, even your husband, your wife. Everybody has been hurt along the road, and that hurt comes out in so many ugly ways. And to me, to learn to self-regulate, whether you're a kid, a parent, a grandparent, whether you have kids or no kids, doesn't matter. If you self-regulate to release your own emotions, your fears, your pain, your stress, your overwhelm, you are empowering yourself to be able to listen attentively, to be able to hear others, to be able to make others feel valued. Because, I have to tell this story because I don't like saying it, but I have to. I choose to, let me correct that. I choose to because when my children were, my daughter was 16 when I crashed, and then she went and lived with her father. She couldn't stand me, and I wouldn't have been able to stand myself now that I've been through it and got myself out of it. And she said to me when our relationship was, because I had chosen to heal myself and do the work that was needed, she said to me, she says, "Oh, Mom, you were so dramatic, I couldn't handle you." And I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry, honey." So a couple months later, I'm in the car. My son's driving. He's older, almost 7 years older. And he says, and I ask him, "Oh, hun, do you think I was dramatic?" He says, "Mom, you weren't dramatic. You were neurotic." So our perception of ourselves, we can't always see it. And there's a lot of things that I was doing that weren't, I'm going to say it this way, that weren't really me. They were more my mom or my dad, because I was raised in that way of responding to things. It's an automatic response. You don't have to think. It just comes out. Kloof, kloof. And you yelled at your kid, and if you had parents who hit you, kloof, as soon as there's too much stress, you hit your kids. And it's not because you get up that morning and you decide, today I'm going to slap my son of mine if he does this. There's no way parents get up with that thought, but they need to heal within, or release anyway. And that's why Snap, Tap, Zap is so cool, because when you calm the amygdala down, which the amygdala, now I'm going to explain this because not everybody would know this. The amygdala is that part of the brain that is our reptilian brain. So when we are triggered into a survival response, so we go into survival mode, I also call it the fear factor that gets triggered, we do a couple of things. We either fight. When you see fights on the school ground, the child has been triggered, the teen has been triggered. When you see adults physically fighting or verbally fighting, they've been triggered. Then there's the fight flight. Oh, I got to go see my parents today. I just got to go. They're running away from the situation, whatever it is. Oh no, I got to go see Johnny right now. It's super important. I can't be here and take care of this, So that's the flight. That's two little examples. Freeze. You're just frozen. You're not doing anything. You're trying not, but what you don't know is that you are doing something. You're doing nothing and you're not helping anyone. I was terrified of helping kids that were being bullied by other teachers because of the way I was raised. Today, if I was in that school, I would be reporting those teachers. And unfortunately, in some cases, teachers also have triggers. And we have so many expectations put on us by the government, by what's expected, that all that pressure sometimes comes out on the kids, unfortunately. And I'll be honest, I'm guilty. In the last few years, I was guilty of that. I couldn't stay that sane Christine that I had been for so many years because there was too much. I have to stop. Thank you. I can go for hours.
I say, no. Thank you so much. And that's incredible. And that's one huge part because you just said, and you taught me, Richie, this professional from Canada allowed me to understand that I can fail and I can fail multiple times a day. And I can be proud of myself for failing every single time because I know that that's not, it's just a quick fail. So she said, and she reminded me of, I just dropped the ball. Hey, I just dropped the ball. Sometimes I pick it back up. I maybe have to get back a little bit, but I pick up that ball and then we're going to truck forward, right? And I think that's where you come in, Richie, where we have different positions. We got the water boys, we got the fronts, we got the lines, and we're talking football here. But any sports, there's different positions to a team. And I think that finding it ourselves, and that's what it goes back down to, is to stop, tab, boy, and just go back to you. Because you speak about the collaborative spirit of mankind, women as well, which should be leading a lot more. I'm telling you right now that I'm actually hosting a whole November about the amazing things that women have done throughout the world. So I'm definitely excited about what FAN is doing and bringing that up because we seem to forget, and you just said it, and both of you also come to a point, is that the human spirit won't be broken and that the human collaborative, but it's us as a culture to saying, hey, it's enough. We are not going to allow you folks, government or agencies or whatnot, to mold our children another way. But the only way that we can do that is by us being there, present, by us being active, by us being aware and being a sound mind, and to be there and listen. Then take the steps to then take action. And then take that action with as excitement of a child, because I will tell you that if anybody knows, and how do you get people to donate? How do you get people to go in the door? And you ask them, well, come on in. They didn't come in. Or you ask them again. What happens when a child wants something and you're at a store? Daddy, mommy, daddy, can I have that? Can I have that? Can I have that? It's relentless. It's that beautiful spirit. But then we as parents, I will take me as parents. No, don't do that. Don't this, don't that. And so we start molding our children the way that we were molded and limiting them and the way that we were limited. So I really love the way that Christine said, hey, I dropped the ball and I'm going to pick it back up. Now I'm going to hand it to Richie and Richie's going to take off with it. And I'm going to be there blocking for Richie. I'm going to be there tackling for Richie because I want to make sure that our team as a collaborative spirit gets lifted, gets raised, and that we actually reach out more people in the world. Again, so I come back to and I say, if we take a stand for who we are, but we have to know who we are. So take this day and make it about you. make it all about the self-healing, the self-empowering, just you. We're here to celebrate you, Christine Bernat. We're here to celebrate you, Alan Holmes. We're here to celebrate you, Kurt Rostov. We're definitely been celebrating you, Richie Onori. We're celebrating Emily Gomer. We're celebrating John Petro Sr. That's also on the next show that's coming up. But that's exactly what we're talking about. And the more that we can continue to do this, and people say, "Dude, you're insane. You have this like Energizer Bunny energy. How old are you?" I said, 42. And I deal with customers on the phone a lot more than face to face. And I would have thought you were in your 20s. And it is God's graced me and blessed me, and we'll definitely have a aha moment because I am a type 2 diabetic. I've been out in the streets. I've got some scars. I've got some battle wounds, and that's the only way that I can approach this with my experiences, with what I've been through, and to say, hey, it can be better to the rest of the world and folks that are in my community and impacted. But I could not have done it if I did not make the change. And if I wasn't, and we just talked about this just a couple of days ago, we'd no longer do 180 turns. Why? We do 360 turnaround because we don't want it just to go into another direction because that'd be the same me just going and traveling in another direction. I want a full 360 change where I see the world completely. Woo! In a whole different mentality, in a whole different energy. And that can only be done if we actually fully 360 ourselves. And then we go on. And no matter which direction you're going into, it's a new direction because it's a new you. And yes, there's going to be triggers. And yes, there's going to be faults. And we just empower and we share. And I know, Richie, and please say the goodbyes, the last 3 minutes. I'm going to let you speak, but I've not met you that much, but you are a world-class drummer. When you get on those sticks and you really get grooving and you just go and you flow and you just every single, how does that make you feel, sir?
Well, I'll tell you how it makes me feel. When you play in front of thousands of people, touring with Journey and every band you could imagine with, when you're a kid, you hope that you're able to rise up and be able to be that entertainer that you've trained so hard, studying music, 6 to 8 hours a day while everybody else went up the street and played Army or whatever. It's that dedication that you have as a musician because that's your passion, that's your love. So it's like I look at me scaling that. And so when I picked up guitar and I had my divine download and I said, why me? And I was told, well, I knew that I had to. So I had to master guitar too and become a vocalist. And so at this show that you guys are going to see, you're going to hear a lot of my songs that I've written with a lot of guys from Eric Clapton's band, a lot of major people that when I've done this, I, as a front man, I have Power to the People, Come Together with the USA, American Fighters, In the Name of Freedom. My songs that I've written that I did with members from Pink Floyd in 2015, I launched, and that will be coming out too. So I have the ability, because of this message I've got, and because I've been so focused, and I've seen the music business, you see what's happening with P. Diddy and with the whole rap world, you can see that the truth is surfacing. And we knew that we're going to be able, that there's going to be a paradigm shift. And so I firmly believe that the messages that I was given in the 90s that are very prophetic will be coming out bigger than ever. Hey, big brother, a lot of these things, that we are going to be controlled. You talk about triggers, you talk about valences, personalities of our parents that Christine brought up. You better believe it. Until we break away from our parents' grips or when they pass away, we still are under that control. So as a true rebel, as musicians are, You learn to be a rebel, and it's the ones that disagree with reality are the ones that forge ahead. And it's that mental attitude that's going to create and really create that new paradigm. Instead of going into the old, all these things, no matter what you learn from psychology, no matter what, you have, there's something that is happening right now, and you will see, you will witness. So I'm glad to be part of your show today. Thank you very much.
You talked about the rap world, and we talked about in some of the things, the collaborative spirit of human beings. We are now choosing to be a collaborative positive for humans and to allow them to speak up. It is not all of the rap game, but it is a lot. And a lot of it is because it's money driven. I'm going to go ahead and thank each and every one of you. Appreciate you very much. We are at the 1:30 mark. John Petros is ready for his show. That's at 1:30. We welcome you back next Friday as well, Christine and Richie. Thank you for blessing us and being here today. And I absolutely agree with you. And there's a paradigm shift. It starts with each and every one of you that is listening. I invite you to reach out, conversation at EC Marketing for All, podcast at EC Marketing for All, or any of our other official partners. Get on, message us. We'll get you plugged in. I know FANA USA is looking for some volunteers. Our Helpopedia is also looking for volunteers. So definitely join us and get on out here, because there are some marvelous things that are happening and you can be a part of it, because we want your greatness to be a part of us as well.
Yeah, you're amazing.
Goodbye, folks.
Very good.
Thank you. It was an honor to meet everyone. Thank you, Christian.
Nice time.
Let me do one quick photo shoot here. There we go. All good.
Yeah.